नमस्कार, स्वागत है आपका सत्यहिंदी.com पर। मैं हूं नीलू व्यास और एक बार आपके साथ फिर से जुड़ रही हूं आपके पसंदीदा इंटरव्यू बेस्ड प्रोग्राम के साथ जिसका नाम है संवाद। और इसमें आपके लिए लेकर आती हूं बातचीत देश के बड़े न्यूज मेकर्स के साथ। हाल में आपने देखा था कि कांग्रेस पार्टी को एक बड़े नेता ने छोड़ा था जिनका नाम है पीसी चाको, और आज वो हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं। उन्होंने एनसीपी ज्वाइन किया है और केरल के चुनाव में एक अहम भूमिका निभाने जा रहे हैं। पीसी चाको साहब, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है।
थैंक यू।
चाको सर, माय फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन टू यू इज कि आपने कांग्रेस पार्टी एक ऐसे समय में छोड़ी है जब चुनाव सिर पर है, तो आपको क्यों लगा कि आपको कांग्रेस छोड़ना चाहिए? व्हाई डिड यू फील द नीड टू लीव कांग्रेस?
This is not a decision which I have taken only the other day. This I have been discussing, I have been thinking about a situation like this for the last many months. Then why you did not say that openly? That question may come. I have been trying my best to persuade my party leadership for a democratic functioning inside the Congress, national as well as state level. You know that in the national level, our party do not have a president for the last 2 years. After the resignation of Mr. Rahul Gandhi, we did not have a president for 1 year almost. Then Sonia ji, who relinquished her office on health ground because there was no other alternative, she took up the responsibility again. You know, that is again 1.5 years now. A person who was president of the party for 18 years, who resigned or who relinquished the post on health ground, was forced to take up again this post. Means how sad it is. And Rahul ji is a person who travels all over India, but president is president. An individual traveling, a leader traveling, that is different. A president acting, Congress is a president-oriented party. I am coming to the main reason on which my thinking was of leaving the party took shape. Rahul ji, in spite of the persuasion from all of us, from all the leaders, was not ready to accept the presidency. He may sometimes say in the working committee, okay, I will, but he did not. Today in India, the peasants' agitation and the anti-people policies and programs of the BJP government, communal tensions, increasing in the country in many states, nobody does to check it. It is the principal opposition party, the Congress duty and responsibility to coordinate with all other like-minded parties who are against BJP and to form a strong united front to see that in national level, the BJP's atrocities are faced and they are not allowed to create tension and division in the society.
But Mr. Chacko, sorry for interrupting you, but my question is that there are a lot of people who have raised questions on Rahul Gandhi's leadership, the way he relinquished his responsibilities and the way Sonia Gandhi came in. But there are a group of G23 leaders. You could have joined them, but why did you choose to leave the party and join another party altogether, which is NCP? So what is the main decision for that?
Yeah,
what is the main
it's
reason
a very
for that?
reasonable question. It's a very reasonable question. I can answer that. I met all the senior leaders of this group of 23. They met Congress president. Congress president told them to wait for 2 months. So they wait. The problem of this country cannot wait. Leaders can wait for their decision. But unfortunately, after meeting the senior leaders of the group 23, I did not get a clear idea that they are going to act. Of course, they express their opinion. Kapil Sibil and many other people held press conferences. That's all there. But I do not see an action, a plan, a program of action from their side. So I was disappointed. Then coming to Kerala, you told me that there is going to be election in Kerala. On the eve of the election, why did you resign? In Kerala also, the same way the All India Committee is happening, there is absolutely no inner party discussion in the PCC in Kerala. You know that Kerala leaders are all, good leaders and experienced leaders. But the party has degenerated to a stage where there is absolutely no inner party discussion in the party.
So are you
One
hinting at the fact, Mr. Chacko, that there is rampant factionalism in the Kerala unit of Congress, which points towards two camps. There is a Uman Chandi camp and the Ramesh Chenithala camp, because of which there's no
exactly.
unity. Are you exactly
Yeah,
hinting at that?
yeah, I am pointing to that exactly. But I thought that the net result is that there is no discussion in the party. But today, the Congress in Kerala, comparatively better state unit, has reached a stage where there is no party, but there is only two groups. Previously, also there were groups led by Karnagaran and Antony and all, but there was discussion in the party. The leaders used to argue, these two leaders, most of the time they used to argue each other, fight each other, but there were discussion. Discussion, party discussion is the life of the Congress party. Today, what is happening is the present groups, which they inherited from the past group, has degenerated to a stage that, they are dividing all this. They are only total, whatever is there, the total number of candidates, they divide between them. So apportioning whatever they are having without any discussion by two leaders is killing the democratic spirit of the party. This is not only my complaint. There are many senior leaders like me and Sudhiran, K. Muralidharan, Sudhakaran. We all have been continuously telling the High Command that the High Command call a meeting of the senior leaders and sit with us and see that things are discussed and decided. Now there is an election we are going to face. When the candidate selection was to be there, on the few days before that, AICC announced a Jumbo Committee. Jumbo Committee means no discussion and take place. Whatever it is, a committee was announced. That committee did not have a single meeting where the candidates' names or probable names were discussed. We are fighting 90 plus seats. This 90 seats, who are the names or who are the people applied for? Who are the probable candidate? Who has got the winnability? Who can be a better candidate? Who satisfies the social factors? Who is a better leader? Unfortunately, this is exactly what should have happened in Kerala. That did not happen. What I could do was, I met Mr. Rahul Gandhi. I told him, sir, please see that there is a discussion taking place in Kerala. If these two people are bringing a list or a panel, it is their personal decision. It is not the product of a discussion in the Congress party. Rahulji told me that, okay, I will try. He might have tried, I don't know, but nothing happened. No discussion. Uman Chandi and Ramesh went to Delhi, sitting in their respective, rooms with their own henchmen, they prepared a list. No senior leader is aware of that, and that leader went to the screen, and that list went to the screening committee. Screening committee chairman called me. I told the screening committee chairman that you cannot discuss a list because there is no list. I haven't seen any list. How can I express my opinion on any name, any constituency, not knowing the name proposed from there?
So, Mr.
chairman
Chacko, let me just interrupt you here for a few seconds. So you are disgruntled with the central leadership because of its inaction. And number two, you are also disgruntled with the fact that you were not consulted while the list was being prepared. Am I correct?
Not only me, many senior leaders of the party who are not part of the group. See, we cannot be part of any group. And the senior leaders who worked in this party for many, many years, they cannot be followers of one leader or the other. We are all congressmen. But unfortunately, those senior leaders, none of them are taken into confidence, not only me. So this is exactly the reason which provoked us that in this party, the list which they are preparing will not be something screened, something analyzed, something winnability was assessed, nothing. So there a situation reached. High command is not interfering. State level leadership is not behaving. Then what else we can do? So I thought that, there is no point. After spending 50 years in this party, I started in the student movement 50 years back, 45 years back. And after all these years, hard work in this party, I do not have anything else in life other than my work in the Congress party. What happened is, after devoting the whole life in the party, if you see that you are completely out of place, you don't have a high command to go and complain. You don't have a leadership here where you can discuss. So I find a disappointing situation where I thought that stop it, call it a day, and say that I am no more in this party. I sent a message to Rahul Gandhi. I thought that before resigning, he was very friendly with me for some time. I sent a message to him saying that I am resigning from the party. I did not get any kind of an assurance that the reasons of the provocation for my resignation will be looked into. Nothing. So I thought that I cannot continue in a party which do not respect the inner party democracy.
And in your resignation letter, did you mention specifically why you are resigning? Did you let Rahul Gandhi know what were the reasons on which you were quitting the party?
Yes, yes. I have written the letter to the Congress president. Okay. I also mentioned the development continuously, what I have told you. I also mentioned that all these things were brought to the notice of Sri Rahul Gandhi when he visited Trivandrum recently. And I was hoping that some kind of interference will be there.
And despite all this having been mentioned by you, Rahul Gandhi or the central leadership did not pay heed to any of the reasons you mentioned.
Yes, exactly.
So what is the plan now, sir? I mean, my most worrisome question for Congress is that it is the oldest party in the country, and the way it is degenerating. And I've spoken to a number of leaders in Congress who are saying that the central leadership is not serious at all about addressing the failures of the party. Congress is facing one failure after the other. Look at the number of elections and where the performance of Congress has been so poor. But it just seems that the Congress is not learning any lessons. What is the real reason? Is the central leadership, and when I say central leadership, I clearly pointed out to Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, and Sonia Gandhi. Why have they become mute spectators to the disintegration of Congress?
No, this is the question. The answer is not to me, not to many Congress leaders, but we quite clear that this situation should not be allowed to continue. Not only Kerala. I have taken a decision. Somebody can say it is a wrong decision, but you know that what happened in Madhya Pradesh. One of the most, potential future leader of the party left this party. Did High Command prevail on the dissenters, the groupism? No. And the biggest setback happened to the party in the recent past was Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia leaving this party. Mm-hmm. What was the stature of Scindia in this party? He was considered to be a future leader of the Congress party. And the problems were developing within the Madhya Pradesh Congress almost more than 2 years. And one person was holding two posts, PCC President and also Chief Minister. And where is the High Command? Why it is not disciplining people? Why they are not asking them to resign one post or keep one post and include others also? So we are seeing with a lot of sorrow and frustration that, when things are happening in a place, there is no proper interference, no proper intervention or action on that. So this is not one question.
But Mr. Chacko, your frustration, your disappointment is quite understandable at this point of time, because when you are in the prime of your age, when you're expecting things to happen and things are just not moving. But my point is that when you say that you tried to mention all these problems to the high command, who is the real high command in Congress? Does it still exist in the form of Sonia Gandhi? Does it exist still in the form of Rahul Gandhi or Priyanka Gandhi? Whom do the leaders address the problems? Because just a few days ago, or rather a few weeks ago, I interviewed Sandeep Dixit on the same lines, and he said that we do not know where to go in the Congress party, and that's where the real problem lies. So do you also agree with the same thing?
In fact, we use the word high command, knowing fully well that there is no high command. But we have to say that. I cannot say that three people are high command. My understanding about the Congress party is that there is a working committee. Working committee is the high command. There is a parliamentary board. Parliamentary board is the high command. But today everything is ad hoc. We have an ad hoc working committee. We have an ad hoc election committee. We have an ad hoc, parliamentary board. Whom do we? So if anybody say that three people are high command, that itself is not the idea of Congress. 3 people or 4 people, however capable they are, acceptable they are not the high command. High command of the party is the elected working committee of the party. And they can form a subcommittee, they can form a parliamentary board, they can form a central election committee. These are all part of the high command. But today there is no systematic functioning of the Congress high command. So probably we are all without an answer. Whenever problem cropping up in a state, a secretary in charge is there, he may try, but nobody listens to them. So what happens? Situation perpetuates and leads to a breaking point.
But Mr. Chacko, the day you put in your papers and you decided to quit the Congress party, a lot of people in the corridors of power in Delhi, they accused you actually, and I'm honestly sharing it with you the way your resignation was perceived in the Delhi circles. Many said that for vested interest, you joined or NCP. You were being cited as a person who was selfish, who was supposed to serve the party, but he quit at the 11th hour when elections were around the corner. Would you agree or disagree with all this?
Now, why should it, for better prospects, should I join NCP? Leaving Congress? Will any sensible people leaving the biggest Congress party, leaving it and going and joining a small Congress party? So the thing is that Congress means Congress ideology. The values of the national movement, the ideology of the Congress, that is Congress. Where it is available. I joined NCP because I know that NCP's presence is not there in many of the states.
So
I know that NCP.
Are you hinting at the fact that there is no ideology which exists within the Congress now?
No. What I said is that a party with Congress ideology, only I can join. That is the reason why I joined NCP.
Okay.
Not thinking that, I can get something from NCP tomorrow. Or NCP is a bigger party than Congress. No. When the functioning is not systematic within Congress, either I can retire from politics or I have to be in public life, be somewhere whether Congress ideology is alive. NCP is a party with the Congress ideology only. Previously also I was working with Mr. Sharad Pawar and I organized the NCP in Kerala before joining back Congress party. So the thing is that Congress party's deterioration is the biggest problem in this country, which is not being understood by the leadership alone. Entire people in this country, well-wishers of the Congress party, rank and file of the Congress party, they realize that our party is going down day by day.
You feel that NCP is providing a strong alternative to the Congress at the moment.
I will not say a strong alternative, but it can emerge as an alternative. Because I know Sharad Pawar is the senior most leader in this country today. Take any political party, he's a senior most leader. He has excellent rapport with DMK or Andhra Congress, Reddy's Congress in Andhra, or Mamata Banerjee, or CPM, CPI. Maharashtra, he has got an alliance with ruling alliance in the leadership of NCP. Means most part of the country, he has excellent relation and rapport with the regional parties who are relevant. So someone who has got that contact, who can be in touch, who can bring them together, Those who
Absolutely.
oppose the BJP should be brought together on a platform. I'm
There
sure
is,
that he.
yeah, no, Mr. Chacko, there is no two ways about the fact that anybody should question Sharad Pawar's competence. He's been into politics for more than 4 decades now. But my next question is that Sharad Pawar of late has been speaking of a third front, probably a national coalition which could be an alternative to UPA. How fruitful are you of this coalition? Because KCR, Telangana Chief Minister, is also hopeful of stitching together a third front. Now, Sharad Pawar is also talking about a third front. Uh, how fruitful, I mean, how hopeful are you that Sharad Pawar will be able to stitch together a third front coalition?
No, no, if these problems are not there, it is so easy. You call a meeting and you can proceed. These are the contradictions of Indian politics. What KCR is saying, somebody else is saying, everybody has their own fancy ideas. All these problems have to be discussed and sorted out. And we should make them realize that, if you don't act now, all the values of the freedom movement, all the democratic, traditions of this country is going to die forever. We have to make them understand. I think this needs a lot of homework. Someone who can make them understand, someone who can discuss. We means Congress is not taking any initiative on this. I have met few opposition party leaders in Delhi. They were telling me that we were waiting for an appointment. It's not coming. What do we do? What a sad situation.
Appointment with? You're talking about appointment with Rahul Gandhi.
Yeah. So that means no, there is no initiative coming from the Congress side, which should have been there, and Congress is the party to take the initiative. When you ask me this question, I don't mean that minus Congress there can be an alternative. I don't mean that. Congress is also to be a part of this alternative anti-BJP combination or coalition. So Congress, when they are not taking the initiative, others cannot keep quiet. They will follow, they will come, we go ahead. That should be our attitude. What else to do?
Absolutely. So where do we see Mr. Chacko now? In NCP, are you going to restrict yourself to state politics, or are you going to be seen at the central stage, probably somewhere with Sharad Pawar, stitching together a third front for 2024 elections? Where do we see Mr. Chacko functioning now?
In fact, I left the state politics long back. In 91, I contested and won the election, and I think we remember each other from that time onwards. The problem is that, once I came to Parliament and I decided to be in the national politics, I wanted to be part of Rahul Gandhi's group or decision or the team. But, I was part of the team. But the team did not have any plan. So what is the point in having a part of a team which do not have a plan? So I'm sure that, my experience with many of the national leaders, I have the highest regard and respect and confidence that Pawar will be able to stitch a coalition together, which can be effectively fighting. Also, he is keeping a very good relationship with Mrs. Sonia Gandhi and also Rahul Gandhi. Because in Maharashtra, when everybody was, leaving everything, no possibility, Sharad Pawar could bring Congress and Shiva Sena and the NCP and an alternative to the BJP. The thing is that there may not be an ideal solution. What is possible? What is practical? He is a very practical person and he can do that. I have tremendous faith in him. When I left Congress, I had two options. Either wind up everything, keep away, no politics, or be in some party which has got the Congress ideology and also which is making an honest attempt to bring people together against BJP. So then I find.
Yeah, but the third front which Sharad Pawar is talking about, can it be a credible alternative to UPA? Because there are signs that all the political allies of UPA could shift their loyalty to the possibility of a third front, which Sharad Pawar is talking about. What if they switch their loyalty to Sharad
I will
Pawar?
not call it third front. Where is the question of third front? BJP is there. All those who oppose BJP or who can join the bandwagon which oppose the BJP, they should be together. The idea is to bring all the well-meaning political parties, groups and leaders and people who are against the BJP
No,
together.
but in
That is
this
the idea,
entire
not the third.
exercise, Mr. Chacko, in this entire exercise of bringing in all the political opponents together against BJP, Congress seems to be isolated because you yourself say you're
No,
saying
no.
that they are functioning in a vacuum. They don't have a roadmap. They don't have leadership. So isn't Congress isolated? If all the parties come together, won't Congress be isolated in this entire exercise?
No, no. Congress should play a main role. No doubt about it. Congress is a party which has got a pan-India presence. So Congress should be there. If the Congress is moving very slow and not attending to this crucial issue, I'm sure that they will do it tomorrow. But for that, unending waiting is not possible for many. Every party is independent of, they can work. And ultimately, leaving out Congress, a third front to fight BJP is not the idea. We all very fervently hope that Rahul Gandhi will take over the leadership of the Congress party. He will move throughout the country. He will take steps to unite the parties which are ready to fight the BJP's fascism. That is exactly what we are expecting. We
No, but
hope that.
you are saying that your biggest disappointment, or rather the reason of disappointment, is that Congress is lacking fire at this point of time when it has
Yeah.
all the issues on the platter. You have a farmers movement, a never before seen kind of a movement, the way farmers have come together. There are so many issues on which Congress can just give it back to BJP, but then also the party lacks fire. So if I ask you a very pinpointed question, that is it Rahul Gandhi who lacks fire, or is it Congress that lacks fire, or is it Sonia Gandhi? Rather, if I personally feel that it's wrong to blame Sonia Gandhi at this point of time, but your answer I would like to know. Who lacks fire at this point of time? And who's
I
to be
will not
blamed?
blame.
Who is to be blamed for the failure?
No, I again and repeat that, 2% or 3% cannot form the Congress high command. Congress want a high command, which is an elected working committee, elected parliamentary board. And Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, all will form part of that, no doubt. But leaving all these elected functional organ setup outside or silent, and then only 3 people acting, that is not democracy. That is
No,
not
but
democratic.
Mr. Chacko, don't you see this as a dichotomy? That if the party wins, all the credit goes to Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi. But if it fails, if people question the leadership, then the leaders say that it's just not 3 leaders who make up the Congress party. It's the entire group which is to be blamed. The entire party has to be blamed. So success has just one father, but failures, it seems everybody is in a vacuum. Nobody knows that who's going to shoulder the responsibility of the failure.
This has been, I should say, this is a Congress culture, When there is a failure, it is not the high command failure. When it's a success, it is their credit. We are, trained in this kind of, but I do not think that, collective responsibility, success or failure, everybody has to share. That is the responsibility. Working committee was called. Rahul Gandhi said, I take the responsibility, I resign. Everybody said, how can you take the responsibility? The responsibility is collective. All of us together will take the responsibility. He did not agree. He took the responsibility on his own. How can he take the responsibility on his own? If anybody wants to take the credit for the victory, let them take. Then we can grant it for anybody. But the responsibility of the failure should be discussed in the party. The reason should be found, and then it should be corrected. Then we should work in a systematic way, in a democratic way. That should happen. That is the call of the hour. That is what Congress is expected to do at this point of time. When I criticize the leadership, I still want to say, I want to underline that Congress is the principal opposition party whose participation in an alternate setup is a must and unavoidable. But the pace with which they are moving is not enough and not satisfactory. So others should come forward. They should push things. When things are pushed forward, naturally they will join. We never visualize a situation where Rahul Gandhi is not there, Congress is not there, leave them out and then we will do. No, that is not.
Can anybody, Mr. Chacko, can anybody conceive Congress without the Nehru-Gandhi family? Are the congressmen or the other party leaders, are they ready to take the reins of the party without the leadership of anybody from the Nehru-Gandhi family?
That question, we do not have any reservation for Nehru Gandhi family member Sonia Gandhi or Rahul Gandhi or Priyanka Gandhi heading this party because they have sacrificed so much. They are accepted by the people of this country. They are an integral part of the Congress party. When they are heading this party, party workers are more enthusiastic, more enthused, no doubt about it. But inaction from anybody is to be criticized. However top a person is, however inevitable a person is, inaction from a person should be criticized. No party can survive. Here's a situation where inaction is, creating problem for the Congress party, paralyzing the Congress party. Everyone understands the Congress party is being paralyzed because of the inaction, not because we lost the election. We are 50 MLAs in assembly. I remember when I was in parliament, after one election, BJP was only 3 members. They were not visible in the 540 member Lok Sabha. They were only 3 members. They came back now. So in the kind of Indian democracy prevails in India, losing an election is nothing. But whether we have the inner vitality to fight back, come back, work together, plan together, but that is not visible. It's quite natural that people want to have that kind of a change will become disappointed.
Absolutely. I don't think you can be more candid than this. But one or two questions. I'm in the last lap of my interview. Talking specifically about Kerala elections, you have sided with the left front government over there, Pinarayi Vijayan's government, where NCP is supporting the Vijayan government. What is your assessment and what is the sense you are getting from the ground? Is Pinarayi Vijayan going to come back? Is the left front government going to come back to Kerala?
Before that, just one point I want to, because this interview will not be complete if I don't say that. Because some people think, now all on a sudden I left Congress and went to left parties. No. 40 years back, when Mr. Namboodiripad, the tallest leader of the Communist Party, was alive, Mr. A.K. Antony, myself, went to Mr. Namboodiripad. We opened this subject and said, Communist and Congress should not be enemies. We have to work together. Why should Communist and Congress be enemies? Bengal, we may be fighting each other. Kerala, we may be fighting each other. For circumstances, it was like that. That does not mean Pandit Nehru was not against communists. Indiraji was not against communists. Rajiv Gandhi was not against communists. Why should anybody in the Congress top level be against the communists? Our enemy is BJP. So we were with the communists. And we once, 40 years back, we formed Left Democratic Front. I, Mr. Antony and myself, we took the initiative. And the government was formed by the communist leader as a chief minister, Mr. E.K. Naina. I was a minister in that government. So this is nothing new for me to have an association with community.
Then, Kerala BJP MLA, Mr. O. Rajgopal, he himself has said that, BJP, Muslim League, Congress, they all come together to fight the left forces. So are you thinking that the same kind of an experiment will be repeated by this league to counter the left forces in Kerala?
No, never. BJP is never welcome. BJP is the untouchable party in the Indian politics, in Kerala politics. Okay. To fight communists, joining with the BJP is something unthinkable for a genuine Congress person. So what Rajagopal said is, Rajagopal is a very old person. Memory may be failing him, I don't know. He somehow won an election because Congress had 60,000 votes in one particular constituency. That 60,000 came down to 13,000 and the BJP won the election. What does it mean? Congress or somebody in the Congress connived, created a situation whereby one BJP man came to assembly. After 70 years, the 140 member assembly, there is only one BJP. They are spending money like water. They have given money, they have given helicopters to Kerala unit. One may become 2 or 3. What does it mean? They are not a relevant party in the Kerala context. CPM and Congress are not natural enemies. We should not fight. They should come together and they should work for the development of the state. So
what about Mr. Chacko? What about the anti-incumbency factor against the Pinarayi Vijayan government? The way he handled COVID, then all the scams trickling in, and a whole lot of issues were there. So, do you sense any kind of anti-incumbency against Pinarayi Vijayan's government?
Yeah, in fact, that question I did not answer when you asked that question. I believe my assessment about the Kerala situation is that there is a general belief that after 5 years that coalition will change, that government will change, the other will come. There is a music chair in Kerala, 5-year one coalition, 5-year other coalition. So that for that reason, this government will go, the other one will come. This is the belief. Some people have in this belief. But for certain, 5 years of the Pinarayi Vijayan government, if you objectively analyze, when we people will oppose them because they are our enemy, naturally we will oppose them. We have been opposing them. But Pinarayi Vijayan government, in the development angle, is a successful government. Whether it is the development of the national highway, whether it is the GAIL pipeline, whether it is the construction of the infrastructure, all the hospitals, our schools, or all kinds of infrastructure, they have a record of achievement. That is one thing which sensible people in Kerala is analyzing who are doing these things. So we don't have an idea. You said allegations. We faced 2 floods. One, this COVID. After all these things, in a difficult situation, they fought. And recently there was a panchayat election. With all the incumbency, all the allegations, all the, we are all collectively calling them, but still they made a colorful victory in the panchayat election. But the grassroots level people voting, 25,000 people are elected at the grassroots level in that biggest, festival of democracy. Vijayan government won. So who can say that Vijayan will not come back? Not only that, one thing is there. Kerala for long was a very, very bankrupt state financially, whether it is Congress government or Communist government. So who can raise money from non-budget or extra budget money can be raised for the infrastructure development? Nobody could ever solve that problem. They solved that problem this time. I will not say they solved that problem. They made an attempt that made some results also.
Absolutely. So you rightly said that elections are very unpredictable and nobody knows the will of the people and what the mandate the parties will get. So always a pleasure talking to you, Mr. Chacko. I know you have to rush and you're on a busy campaign trail. Wish you all the best. It was really a pleasure talking to you, and especially for the candor with which you spoke. And I'm sure a lot of people will watch all what you have said and all what you have described about Congress and its central leadership. Thank you so much. और आप सभी सत्य हिंदी के थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सो मच। और आप सभी सत्य हिंदी के दर्शकों से अनुरोध है कि आपको ये इंटरव्यू कैसा लगा, इस पर आपके फीडबैक का मुझे इंतजार रहेगा। और एक छोटी सी गुजारिश है कि स्वतंत्र पत्रकारिता का समर्थन करने के लिए हमारे इस वीडियो के डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में जाएं, उस लिंक को क्लिक करें, सत्य हिंदी का सदस्य बने और हमें समर्थन दें। और इस पर आपके फीडबैक का मुझे इंतजार रहेगा। थैंक यू सो मच मिस्टर चाको।
सत्य हिंदी का ऐप डाउनलोड करें गूगल प्ले स्टोर पर।